Hello, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at the 2024 Harris-Trump map based on the current polling. And now that we're after Labor Day, this is kind of the transitional month until the final sprint in October. But given all the changes we've seen over the past couple of months, I think it's going to be a good idea to give it some more time. So while we go over the background, let's start by filling out the safe states. And these are expected to be a 10 or more point margin. Now, I took most of my data from 270 to win, Real Clear Politics, and 538. They all do it just a little bit different, but I try to not use any data that was more than a month old. But some states have outdated polling, or they don't have any polling at all. If there's no polling, I defaulted back to the 2020 data. So it's safe to say that since the last month, more states have moved toward Harris. However, it's still extremely close and a pure toss-up. And I've always said to take a look at the polling, especially in the aggregate. But in the end, we have seen some polling misses, sometimes in both directions. Usually with Trump on the ballot, it's underestimated him. That could happen again. There could also be a Bradley effect, or it could also underestimate Harris this time. Plus, the pollsters could be misreading the electorate. We just don't know. Everybody's putting out their predictions and hoping for the best. So those are the safe states, and that does include Maine at large going for Harris. And on the other side, Trump is getting Alaska, Iowa, and Ohio by safe margins. Now let's go down to the likely states, and these are expected to be between a 5 and a 10-point margin. First, let's finish up the West Coast there. We'll get Oregon out of the way. I have not seen anything new in this state since that Hoffman research poll a couple of months ago. That one did show a 5-point margin for Harris. I think it's very likely to end up being over 10 points, but for now, this is all the data we've got, so it is going to go likely for Harris. Then we've got New Mexico. Not a surprise, that is going to go likely for Harris. Then we can continue east and go a little bit north to Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. Not a ton of polling here, and plus this got redistricted since the last election in 2020. It should be a little bit redder, but the district has trended toward the left. In this, it's going to be over 5. It's going to go likely for Harris. Then we've got Minnesota. This is the home state of her running mate, Tim Walz. It's unclear how much of a boost he would actually give her in this state. The margin was very narrow in 16, and then it widened up in 2020, and in this, it's going to go likely. Then we could go to the East Coast, and let's look at Maine. Now, at large, this is actually safe for Harris. Polling earlier in the year did show this actually going toward Trump. I always thought that was just indicative of the lack of support for Biden at the time. Now that Harris is in there, she's clearly going to do much better than Biden. I would not necessarily say it's going to go safe, but we only had one poll, and that's the data we've got to use. It's the same thing in the 2nd Congressional District. In that same single poll we've got, it actually was at 5 points for Harris. This is a red district that has potential of going over 10 for Trump. So if it went 5 for Harris this time, then I would think this election is completely over. So that's either an outlier or there has been massive movement toward Harris. Again, all the data we've got means we've got to put this at likely for Harris. And the last state is next door in New Hampshire. This is not a huge surprise, but for now, this is going to go likely for Harris. Now we can do the likely states for Trump. And we've actually only got one state. There's going to be a lot of electoral votes there. That's Texas. We haven't gotten a ton of polling out of there as of late, but it is going to be over 5, less than 10. It's going likely for Trump. And now we can go down to the lean states, and these are going to be under 5-point margins, but more than 1 point. Let's start on the East Coast again. Let's look at Virginia. Based on some of the other states we've seen, this should go at least likely for Harris, but based on the data we've got, it actually is under 5 points, and it is going to go leans for Harris. Now let's look at some of the blue wall states. We've got Wisconsin and Michigan. Both of those just over 1 point, so they are going to go leans for Harris. And then let's go down to the Sunshine State. We've got Florida. This one is going to go toward Trump. It's not quite likely, but it's close. For now, it's going to be leans for Trump. And now we could go down to the tilt states, and these margins are going to be 1 point or less. We'll start in North Carolina, and this one is going to go red. It's going to go toward Trump. Then let's head way out into the Southwest, Arizona. This state is also slightly tilting toward Trump, so he's going to make it red. Then we've got Nevada. This one is going to go in the opposite direction. It's going to go toward Harris. It's going to be very light blue. Then let's take a look at Georgia. Like the other states, it's going to be very close, but it's going to go toward Harris. And last, we've got the Keystone State, Pennsylvania. This is another extremely close margin, but in this, it's going to go blue. It's going to go toward Harris. She's going to get it by a tilt. So that's it. That's the final map based on the recent polling. We've got 293 for Harris, 245 for Trump. Harris edges it out. Of the 7 major battlegrounds, 5 of them are tilt ratings, and the other 2 are under 2-point margins. So it almost does not get any closer than that. This is the first time it's flipped and it's going toward Harris in the Electoral College. Maybe that stays the same. Maybe she goes up and maybe she goes down. It's all going to depend on turnout and which way the late breakers are going to move. Even a 0.5 point margin in each state could be the deciding factor. Also, keep in mind, this is the kind of thing that can easily change day to day, certainly week to week. I'm hoping we get a steady stream of polling in all these battleground states starting a week or 2 after Labor Day. We've also got the debate coming up. We've got Trump's sentencing, and there's past elections where we have seen a lot of movement in the final couple of weeks. So at any point in time, whatever the polling polling shows, I think this year more than any other, it's clear that things can change. It could change a lot in a week. It could change a little bit over a month. It could go back and forth multiple times. Plus, we've got to be on the lookout for an October surprise. Hopefully, we got all that out of the way in June and July. But I think this race is just barely starting to heat up. All the ads and the spending are going to start pouring in. We've got last-minute endorsements. Hopefully, voters are going to get a real sense of where these two stand on the issues and then make their decision accordingly. If anybody says they know what's going to happen, I wouldn't buy it. But that's it for now, so let me know in the comments, what do you think about the map based on the current polling? Do you think this is it and it's not going to change? Do you think it could be underestimating Trump again? What kind of movement are we going to see over the next couple of months? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.